good amount of people here. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us today. This is our second winter edition CanHug meeting. So CanHug, of course, standing for Canadian Tableau Healthcare User Group. If you were not able to attend our last meeting, I think it was October, we'd like to introduce our group. Our aim here is to bring together organizations from across the country to share experiences using Tableau. Really, we all encounter sort of similar challenges, and so this group is really for us to serve as a platform for sort of making connections, exchanging knowledge and best practices. And just changing my screen here. Again, if you didn't attend last time, my name is Brittany from Hamilton Health Sciences, Ontario. I, along with Eric from Alberta Health Services, also on the call today, help organize this group. So if you have any questions or if you're interested in joining us to help find topics and speakers, please let us know and we can include you as an organizer as well moving forward. So on that note, we are inviting participation in future user group meetings. If you have a topic that you'd like to present, you can fill out this form or reach out to us directly. If you've already committed to speaking at a future session, there's no need to fill out this form. We already have you on our radar and we will be in touch to coordinate details. But really our goal is to feature an organization spotlight or a different organization each quarter, highlighting how healthcare organizations across Canada are leveraging the tool. You can provide or choose to provide just an overview of your Tableau setup, your Tableau strategy, your rollout, tool governance. You can share successes, lessons learned, or talk about your current challenges. You might also choose to showcase content that you're developing within Tableau or focus on a specific topic, whatever works best for you. So for example, in today's session, Alberta will be diving into Tableau Prep. We also wanted to just give everyone a reminder, since this is a Tableau user group, that Tableau conference is upcoming April 15th to 17th in San Diego. Registration is up on the site. I believe there is an option to register for free. So if you aren't attending in person, you do have the ability to stream it virtually. So just wanted to throw that out there and give everyone an FYI. And on to the agenda for today. First, we have Tableau Prep at Alberta Health Services with Eric, then Prep from an analyst's perspective with Jonas, also from Alberta Health Services, then Prep from a data prep expert with Kavitha, and then finally, around 3 p.m., Shah will be joining us from Tableau to give us a sneak peek into Tableau 2025. And so I think with that, I'll flip it over to you, Eric. I'll just stop sharing my screen.
And just give me 1 second here to get. And I'll have to apologize. It's not as super. I didn't get as much polish onto this one as I'd like. I only think I had spent maybe 2 or 3 hours on this one last night. But basically, I wanted to give, before we got into the different use cases and how people are using it, I just wanted to give some high level stats on what Prep looks like at Alberta Health Services. So I kind of said at the top, because if data was clean, we'd be done work by now. There's a lot of, it's just, a lot of the data that we get, even when it's coming from a database, isn't exactly the way you need it, or maybe you needed to move it to another database or that sort of thing. So yeah, we have just about 1,000 unique flows on our Tableau server, and the things that are published. So I don't know how many flows would be sitting on your computer if you're to use Tableau Prep on the desktop. I don't know how many people are sitting there, but for the things that are actually published to the server, We have just about 1,000 of those, and we have 135 flow creators. So those are different people that have made flows and put them on the server. That's about a quarter of our server, because I think we have 485 creator licenses right now. So about a quarter of them use Prep, which is, I'm sure there's still people in AHS that have never heard of Tableau Prep or they've never used it and think, oh, that might sound useful, but they're still getting around to it. So I know there's still more people that can use it, but at the same time, I recognize that not everyone is going to use Tableau Prep, just because some people somehow get clean data. Maybe, I'm not sure. But anyways, we have core-based licensing, so this might not mean much to a lot of people out there, but basically the way we get Tableau at AHS is that rather than getting per user, we get a certain number of computer cores. So how much stuff you can process, and we license those through Tableau. So we're actually kind of like on an older licensing model. So generally, people don't have to worry about cores, but I know there's still some other groups that are core based. But we have 4 Tableau Prep cores. So basically, we can run 4 Tableau Prep jobs at a time, no more, no less. And those ones are just dedicated to Tableau Prep. Any given day, we have 472 separate scheduled Tableau Prep jobs. And this is live data, so it actually changed. So at the end of the day, because a lot of our jobs kind of run in the morning, so I was gonna say we usually run about 1,000 flows per day, about 800 successful and 200 errors. But this is actually live data from our server. All of this is actually live or extracted data from our server, except for this one, because it's just the number 4. But yeah, in the last 24 hours, we've run 665, but that number will change if I hit refresh. But yeah, basically we run about 1,000 per day. So we do rerun. There's certain flows that we run quite a bit. I see a couple people are basically getting near live data by using Tableau Prep. So there's some people doing that. And then this is basically just how many flows we run per day. This is only data from August 31st, 2024. I think this Postgres data, so all this data is from Postgres, from the Tableau server backend. I think this table is recent because I obviously we didn't just start and suddenly run 500 prep flows a day. But a lot of this data is kind of from these tables. So the numbers might be a little bit higher, but obviously we kind of cut off the tail here. But in August 2024, we're kind of running around 600 flows a day. And then this was a server outage. We had a server outage November 5th, the year past. So if you're wondering, like, hey, what happened November 5th? I'm like, yeah, our server an outage. Bad things happened. It wasn't fun. We ended up getting it back up and running, but the next day in November, I guess we're 6th. Oh yeah, the 6th was still a bit low, but yeah, we had an outage. So that's where that went. But generally, we've been kind of growing pretty steadily on how much we use prep. I'm going to assume those are weekends here, but that's just data from today because I haven't refreshed it yet. But yeah, and then today we kind of per day we're running around 900, or at least on this day. This is our peak, 934 flows run in a day. And again, this data is a bit truncated, but on the server, we've run 135,000 prep flow jobs, and we've had 7,450 failures. And if you look at our daily flow numbers, like we see actually a relatively high error rate. the only reason why this is so much lower, the lifetime failures, is because if you fail 5 times on the server, it stops running the job, right? So, there might be some stuff on the error in the error list here that, a couple more days later it might get kicked off the server. So, yeah, and then this is just some random flows that are the lifetime runs. So I'm not even sure what this is. I haven't actually checked. But I'm going to guess that it's running every 15 minutes based on the run count and the name. But yeah, you see a couple of jobs coming here where they, bed occupancy, for example. I know bed occupancy statistics, bed occupancy isn't really useful and if it's an hour late because it could be somebody sitting in that bed. So yeah, certain things like this, like discharge encounters, bed occupancy, I could see why they're probably running this thing all the time because they want nearly live data essentially, because I don't want to put 2 people in a bed and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's the thing. These have run 16,000 times on the server. So it's pretty crazy when we think about it, because we've don't remember when we actually got prep conductor. So prep is the data prep tool, but there's also prep conductor, which allows you to schedule things on the server. But I don't recall. I have to double check when we actually got that on the server. But basically, all the automated scheduled jobs are all because of prep conductor, which is actually an add-on. Because I think prep is free, but then for most people, if you want to schedule those jobs, then you have to have I think it's a data management add-on that makes it so you can actually schedule jobs and do all that kind of stuff. But for most people, that probably doesn't matter because you're not getting the licenses and that sort of thing. But yeah, yeah. But anyways, that's kind of Tableau Prep at AHS, kind of from a high level view.
Eric, we just have a couple questions. Yeah, in the chat. So hi, just curious, what are your typical data sources, databases, Excel, text files, ?
Yeah, a bit of everything, to be honest, because I don't have like an actual breakdown. I guess that maybe I'll have to. I might I'm gonna save that question for later, because I might see, because like I said, I literally spent 2 hours on this yesterday, and I was like, let's get some stats together. It'll be good context. But I'll actually go find, because I'm kind of curious what we do, like what the breakdown is. I know we have a lot of Oracle. So we have a lot of Oracle, we have a lot of Snowflake. Those are kind of our 2 primary data warehouses. We also have Epic, which we call Connect Care, but it's basically Epic, the EMR. That's based in SQL Server, but we do lift and shift a lot of data out of SQL Server just because we don't want to put pressure on, the Epic instance itself. Don't want a bad query to take down the entire thing. But yeah, so we have a lot of everything. So, but then, that said, yeah, those are our big databases. But at the end of the day, like, to be realistic, there's a lot of data that comes from Excel files, some reference table, right? Like, I've talked to departments that are like, oh, I know the official mapping zones are this, but for the North Zone, we like to use our own special ones that we created. And I'm like, okay, well, we can create a visualization based on the special map files that you have in the North Zone, but they might have some sort of special reference table, or even permissions. I know a lot of people do permissions and join off of, like, if you wanted to do user permissions, like if I wanted to say, Brittany has access to data from Ontario and I have access from data from Alberta, a lot of people will do prep flows kind of based on to kind of use those user filters, and they'll incorporate that sometimes with an Excel file, because it's easier to manage user permissions through sometimes an Excel file than creating than managing Active Directory groups and updating those all the time. So
Another question. Yeah, do you permit all creators to build flows, and how do you handle education for creators who want to use Prep?
Yeah, so we let anyone that's a creator create flows. We're kind of more in the governance side of things. We're kind of more the Wild West than I know some people are very like, you can have a very lockdown instance or kind of a more Wild West. We kind of lean more towards the less governance, get things out there side of things. So we let everyone that is a creator make prep flows. Technically, if you have web editing permissions, you could make a prep flow, but it doesn't work great. Oh, actually, no, I don't think you can. You can make workbooks, but not prep flows because you can't connect to data. But yeah, basically, we'll let any creator do it. And then when it comes to education, we actually had our community meeting, like our internal AHS community meeting earlier today. And we did kind of like a crash course in prep. That said, I mean, prep's honestly fairly like, I mean, your specific problems and your specific data might be different, but at the end of the day, I think it's the kind of thing that you can just honestly just like joining my Excel file isn't that much different from your Excel file, and SQL isn't that much different from Oracle, except once you get connected and in like the cleaning of data is pretty much the same thing. So we do some internal sessions, but honestly, there's really good sessions out there, and actually, I was going to post this later, but maybe I'll do it now before I forget. There's even things like Pierre, which is one of our guys. I posted a link there, Data Prep Challenges, and basically it's just there's introductory month challenges, videos, solutions, and it basically takes you through blah 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 blah. But I think in this one they want you to basically split the data and split the field. So there's a giant concatenated field here, and this one's introductory one, so you just go in and you split all the fields, and then there's slashes and dashes, and they want you to basically extract all the information there, and then there's some data type things. So honestly, we do some internal stuff, but there's a lot of really good stuff out there. And they walk you through the entire thing, and you can download the data and do all that kind of stuff. So this one's really good. I see Sonia is asking the chat what EMR system we're running. So we have Epic. We just finished our implementation. We did like, I don't remember how many waves now. It seems like forever. But we basically did like a staged approach, and we basically got everybody on Epic now. There's still certain functions that aren't on Epic, but as a province as a whole, we're using Epic now. Okay. I think that's all the questions. I see one recently that just came in. Does Snowflake allow you to connect directly to the EMR? So this was a this was a little bit of a fight, because Epic basically had said that the tables are proprietary, which which we think is silly. But Snowflake actually said that if we run into any legal trouble, they'll cover the costs. Because I think it's silly, because tables, at the end of the day, tables don't really build the application, right? Like if I gave you all the tables that make up Facebook's backend, like you couldn't just recreate Facebook based on a bunch of tables, right? There's a lot of stuff that happens in the background. So we are allowed to connect, but we actually had to it's something that, if you have Snowflake, which we do, you might want to have them talk to your EMR vendor and that sort of thing. I know Snowflake has pushed quite aggressively to say, yeah, and when us as well, saying this is our data, we want to connect and process and deal with our data any way we want. So we've had to have some discussions with them, but eventually it all got ironed out. So yes, we do connect Epic data to Snowflake, and we upload, I think, the vast majority of all of Clarity is in Snowflake, if you are familiar with the Epic lingo. Yeah. They're using Cerner. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll still be around, so I can answer questions in the chat if people think of stuff a little bit later here. But I think that's really all I have. I think I'll pass it on to Jonas. That'll show Tableau Prep kind of from an analyst perspective. But yeah, I'll be hanging around. So if people have questions, just send me a message, or just message, and I'll get back to you.
Well, thanks, Eric. Hey, everyone. My name is Jonas Hugh. I'm a business analyst for Health Information Management's business toolsets team with Alberta Health Services. I'll be frank, I don't have too much experience in Tableau Prep and desktop, but I've been working with some program data and learning Tableau Prep and desktop for about like a month and a half. But I'll still show you the flows that I have on a recent project, as well as some cool visualizations that you could really build using the prepped data from Tableau Prep into Tableau Desktop. So I'll be providing kind of like a little bit of a backstory of what the project was and how it is going to be implemented in the future. So the project ask was from our Workforce Planning, Learning and Development team, or WPLDD for short, and they wanted to track and visualize student practicum data. So if you were in part of our Tableau Prep crash course earlier this morning, it's kind of combining all those pieces together. So part of this, we were looking at multiple data sources from Excel spreadsheets and external data provided by the Health Science Placement Network, which I will probably refer to it as HSPNet. For those of you that are unfamiliar, HSPNet is a student practicum network that helps streamline placement coordination for health science programs and facilities across Canada. So it's used by almost every province in Canada. It provides the students opportunities, helps assist with streamlining coordination, and supporting their evaluation by focus and prioritizing for their independent studies. The second source of data were spreadsheets compiled by the WPLD team. This included tracking student placement start times, practicum durations, receiving agencies, the zones we have in Alberta Health Services, some of the facility names, as well as other supporting documentation for the type of courses and practicums that the students will be focused on for evaluation and prioritization. Part of their team does a little bit.
Jonas?
Yeah.
Sorry, just to interrupt. I'm not sure if you mean to be sharing.
Oh, I'm not sharing yet.
Right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I just wanted to double check.
No worries.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. But yeah, so they do a little bit of data cleansing so that the information provided to us is appropriate. So usually aggregation of data pertaining to the students' names and etc. So now I'll show the prep flow. So here on my screen, I'll be launching it as a web application first, and then I'll talk about some of the issues that I've encountered by using the Tableau Prep desktop application that we won't encounter here. So what I really like about Tableau Prep is the Connections tab. So Eric did talk about some of the databases or cloud services that AHS utilizes, like Snowflake. We have access directly to the Tableau server. We do have Oracle access as well. In this kind of project that I've been working on, we've been using OneDrive and SharePoint Online. And that is how we connect to individual data sets provided by the WPLD team. In addition to that, other files, you can still add additional Excel files, PDF files, additional extracts, as well as text files here as well. And I do have an example of an external Microsoft Excel. So I'm just going to connect to the data source through internal authentication. And you'll see these kind of triangles disappear. So that's another neat thing about Tableau Prep is anytime you see kind of like a red triangle, it kind of indicates either a break in the flow, missing data values. It could say that something you're referencing isn't available for the flow to kind of identify. So you'll see the icons either in some of the boxes for each prep stage, or you can revert and look at the alerts in the top right-hand corner. So depending on the data sources, like I said, the reason why I'm showing today's session in the web application is because in our desktop application, there are certain drivers that limited us from using our OneDrive and SharePoint connections. So in web, it actually flows correctly. Now, normally once you do your connection, based off where the information is stored, you can kind of drag and drop the tables here. And the tables are usually in blue. Sorry, they can be any color actually, but they kind of look like this icon. In your day-to-day, when you want to start cleaning the data, you'll realistically press the plus button, click clean step, and you'll have a clean step to kind of process the information that you find that you are analyzing and etc. Now, I have two because I'm kind of still learning, but my practice consultant, she recommended that with the first clean step, you want to identify the column headers once again. So by default, if I look at the information from the extract, you'll see that the column headers are just F2, F3, F4, all the way through. And for us, we want to identify that type of information before we process it. So in my first clean step, that is what I did. That will help me kind of identify what I need to duplicate, what I have to transform. If the data from the fields are string, numbers, calendar, and etc., that is how I could do it. So in my future projects, I will likely combine two clean steps together, so it's just one, so I can verify that information while I'm working on it. So I'll just go to my clean step 2 here. Yeah, so there's a lot of neat things. I really like this changes field. So it's kind of like an audit field of telling you what changes you've created to certain columns. If you've done grouping, renaming, duplication, it's a good way to not erase data that is the raw data set if you have to make any changes to it. Other things that I really like about Tableau Prep is that if you needed to change, let's say string data in this case, if I click on it directly, I can change it to numbers or etc. There are abilities to make custom calculated fields. And if you, I did a lot of Googling because I don't come from a CS background and but I understood some kind of calculations in Excel. It has a huge variety of things that you can do, let's just say. So an example that I do want to show of the changes is this PLC course grouping. So I've just selected this here. It also highlights the information that will be kind of grouped and changed below. In the left-hand side under changes, I'm just going to briefly look at very light shading down here. If I can see it. Yeah, it's right here. It's very light. And this tells me that I have made changes to this field group. Now, I just want to show group values. Something I've learned from my team members is that grouping values is very, very neat. So some of these schools across Canada have additional practicum codes. And the practicum codes were very important to us to identify because it then determined what courses they must take before accessing Epic, the type of practicum that they will be doing. So we have a variety in HIM, specifically with patient coding, health records, we have access and disclosure. And for us, it helps us to group these into their specific schools so that we know for future reference where we can place these students per facility. So every facility kind of operates a little differently. And there's a big difference between the type of experience you get from a rural site to an urban site within Alberta Health Services. So I'll just click done. The other thing I've been learning is pivoting, having the ability to pivot the tables directly in Tableau Prep. So unlike Excel, you won't need another sheet. You can just do it all continuous and it flows with the information that has been provided. In this case, I needed a pivot because I was trying to track the students' training dates and to make sure that it is combined with a full year calendar to make sure that it shows correctly through Tableau Desktop, which I will kind of explain it as well as show you some of the things I've been working on for dashboard views. But this was the case where we could look at the registrar dates, training dates, and kind of group them all together into one pivot. In this project, I did pull in an external Excel file. Now, this is just a kind of calendar date from 2019 to 2030, just covering all the bases for either past data that they have had for students coming in for practicums, and then future data, so up until 2030. And of course, this can be changed. So I basically just pressed connections, looked at Microsoft Excel, connected to my local file, and drag and drop. And this is what this calendar date one is. And then I didn't do any necessary changes. Tableau Prep is pretty smart in identifying certain things. And if it recognizes a date field, it will change to a date field option. So it just automatically did that for me. One of the things that I do like is, and I've learned, it took me a while to learn what this actually did, but this is our join field data. So I am joining these fields so that we have a function to combine the data from either multiple tables or sources based on common fields. So in the previous pivot table, we're looking at specific training dates, and I am kind of linking them together so that I can kind of visualize it in a way so that we can keep track of that information. But the reason why I needed to join it is because it is missing the other calendar dates that would not have been part of that data set. So to build a full calendar, which I will show you for visualization, required these null fields to be put in. Now, it is kind of odd. It does add like 6,000 other results, and you do and will have a lot of information within the null fields across the board. And it's kind of unavoidable in this case, based off the ask of the end users and leadership. And this is how I kind of combine that data. Now, there are other types of joins. So there's full outers, there's inners, there's left, right, etc. And it does change depending on your data sets or what you are trying to achieve. And then last but not least, we do have our output. In this case, I publish it directly to the Tableau server that we have for Alberta Health Services. It's under the domain that I'm currently working for, and then some brief descriptions. So now I will show screenshots of the Tableau desktop, as there are some information that I can't show to this Hug meeting. So based off the calendar data, I was able to build a calendar view with the help of my team. And it's quite neat. It has kind of like a hover to discover thing. So in this scenario, I would have hovered February 29th, and it provided me tooltip data based off their ILT training day and the number of students. So this was kind of the ask that they were okay with in this current view. And you'll see it's 2024 data. 2025 had less type of information, but on the right-hand side, filters, etc., it is all adjustable by the end user. So whatever type of data they're looking for, they can view it year to month, all of the years, all the months, and etc. So there's that information. In Tableau Desktop, you can change the tooltip data. So I just have ILT names, which is a course that they have to take, and then the number of students in this case. The next slide here is our student practicum duration. So this is helpful for our receiving coordinators to understand how long the student will be at their facility. So tooltip data here would be the HSPNet ID student. Those coordinators would then go into HSPNet, identify the student name. Ideally, they already know that the student's coming to their facility, placement schools, course codes. Here we can see that their placement is primarily patient registration, practicum start and end dates, and weeks, days, and hours. So depending on the student's availability, as well as the RA or the receiving coordinators, they can identify the students for this purpose. The third slide I have here is the agency breakdown. So in AHS, we have kind of 5 general zones. So Calgary, Central, Edmonton, North, and South. The ask was to kind of be able to visualize the number of students and the type of students that are taking practicums in each zone. So there is an ability for them to do all. It's just very cluttered in my opinion. So I gave them suggestions to kind of filter down information pertaining specifically to what they are looking for. So everything's color coded. I made sure everything was matched accordingly. So I'll talk about some things that I'll eventually like to do different. So with zoning in Alberta Health Services, it's subject to change for political reasons, but these are some of like the facilities on the right that I would like to eventually combine into one color code, so that when an end user kind of hovers that information, all that information that we saw in the tooltip displays. So it could display, ideally I would like it to display the facility, how many students are in those facilities, other breakdowns, where if you kind of hover this, it would give you individual breakdowns. So that's something you could do in the future. That's something I could do in the future. It's just I don't have that much experience in Tableau Prep and Desktop to create this information. So as a summary, data prep using Tableau Prep is extremely helpful. I think it's important when you do want to combine multiple data sheets, allowing for more accurate analysis that helps you remove your null fields. Structurally, for me, it's very neat. I like to see all the data fields and how I want to operate for future builds, for visualization as well. It does allow me to be more optimized in reporting through Tableau Prep and Desktop. And I do encourage you all to kind of explore your own data sets in learning how to transform them appropriately, and then also viewing them in various ways. I know for myself, I do rely on my team a lot, and lots of YouTube videos. So thanks for listening.
Okay, thank you so much, Jonas. Any questions from anybody before we move on? Okay. See no questions in the chat. We'll move on to Kavitha, who will be presenting next.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Kavitha. I work for Enterprise Data Engineering team within AHS. This team is headed by Jason Scarlett. And under this umbrella, I work for a specific team that is identified as Data Prep team, which is led by Zishan Qureshi. So our primary role is to ingest data from various source systems, transform it, consolidate it, and provide it to analysts who use this data for reporting and analysis, and many more. I think probably to interact with doctors for any kind of inputs and all those things. So, so we ingest data. We are responsible for ingesting data from various source systems like Epic, AH, Meditech, Millennium, Kai-Hi, many more source systems. Our primary data source system being Epic, from where we pull most of the data. And to do this, we have a couple of ingestion tools. In the past, we have used Informatica and Alteryx, and Fivetran is something which is ongoing, which we particularly use for Epic system. And Tableau is something which we are currently using, very frequently using this tool, because provided since we are moving from Oracle to cloud-based Snowflake environment. So this Tableau facilitates in terms of connecting to the Snowflake environment. And that's why I think it's become our primary tool in terms of considering it for any kind of ingestion that we're doing at our end. Okay, so that said, we have I'm just going to share my screen and walk you through some use cases. Jonas has already covered most of the stuff. I think we are strictly doing ingestion, and the most of the transformation and the consolidations are happening within the Snowflake. So I'm just going to walk you through some straightforward workflows here, which could give you all an idea. Just give me a minute. Where's the share? Okay. Can you confirm? Okay. I hope I saw that notification there. Stop. All right. So I'm going to start off with workflow, which basically ingests data from a text file. So this is one of our use case where we receive files on regular basis. That is, it could be hourly, it could be 15 minutes. And the example that I'm showing here is we're receiving this file every 15 minutes. And so we have this setting within Tableau. So as Jonas showed, we can ingest the file. I think the option that we have here is pick up the text file and then import it. And then once you import it, so it automatically shows you what file settings are, and based on that we can set it up in such a way that if it is something that we have to pick up the most recent file from the folder, we always have that option within Tableau, which is very helpful. As you can see here, I picked up the file from the folder. It's a wildcard here. So we're specifying the type of file, and then we specify the most recent one to pick it up. And also, if there are any specification in terms of the header file, that is, in case if you want to skip the header record, in case of the file as a header record, or if you want to skip it, all those options are available within this. So this is one of the straightforward workflow which picks up the file every 15 minutes, and we're doing some cleansing here. a lot of conversions happening. That is from string to date conversions and renaming of the field and some calculations happening. So it's very convenient in terms of doing the cleanup. And after that, we just directly ingesting into Snowflake. So this is how the Snowflake setup looks like. So we have to provide the server name and then specify the warehouse and the database and the schema name and where it has to land. So that's pretty much in terms of how to ingest a file into Snowflake. And the next example is, the ingesting data. This is, we're ingesting data from a primary source system that is Epic. So from Epic, I can show you here. Oh, this is not that one. So just give me a minute. Okay. So we have this connection set up for the SQL Server. And we on the right hand side, if you see this is my connection. You can drag and drop the tables as is into in the workspace here in the build area. But then if you have a customized query that you want to use for your ingestion, you just pick up this, you plug in your custom SQL in this particular window here, which is very easy for you to plug in your query and then extract that data that is required for your downstream process. So it's pretty straightforward to connect to the source system here, and then do a bit of cleansing. But I think this doesn't include any kind of cleansing here, and then directly ingesting the data into Snowflake, where we transform and consolidate the data. So this is another simple example of ingestion. Going to the final use case that we have, that is ingesting the data from Snowflake to Oracle. We are moving from Oracle to Snowflake, and there are a few users who still rely on the tables in Oracle. So we kind of doing reverse engineering in terms of ingesting data into Snowflake and catching up all those changes within Oracle. So we doing some reverse engineering here. So once we complete the Snowflake load, we we have our stream settings over there, which captures the information in terms of what changed. So that data is propagated into the Oracle environment. So what I failed to explain in the previous workflow was the what I liked the most is the after SQL, where you can execute a procedure within the repository that you're ingesting into. So you just have to call in a procedure that you can set up a procedure if you have more than one statements part of that, the process, and you can bundle them up in a procedure and then call it here. So it's going to easily execute it. That's something which I really like. And for the, uh, it's on the whole, it's been very helpful in terms of ingesting tool. It's been a couple of years. I'm new as well, but there's lots to explore. But my observations here on Tableau is it offers excellent performance, definitely better than Alteryx that we used in the past, and provides a variety of cleanup options. And I also appreciate the ability to call a Python script within the workflow, which is incredibly helpful when dealing with zip source files or moving files to a different folder. And one other thing, that which I feel is a downside is, when we the kind of the schedule workflow, it has a cutoff window for about 2 hours. So in case if it exceeds that 2 hour window, it fails. That's the only downside that I observed. But the ones, that applies to only data sets which are huge, and when we're ingesting huge volume of data into our repositories. But the workaround is just run them manually, so it's going to work in that case. So And I'll just quickly show you something which John has probably missed. That is scheduling the workflow. So you have this. I mean, now what I have this opened up. I have these workflows opened up with the Tableau desktop application here. So you have an option to publish this. I mean, once you publish this, you'll be able to schedule it. So that's just to automate all your process. So you need to publish by specifying your server name here. So there's something wrong. So I need to connect to the server. I need to provide the server name here. That will allow me to connect to the server. So once I connect, my workflow will be available on the server for me to schedule. So here we have different schedule options. And within this, you can create your own schedule. When you click on this new schedule, you have a bunch of options over here which are predefined. And if you want a specific time, I think probably you'll have to work with the admin team to add that time slot, the time frequency to schedule your the workflow. Once that's done, that option is available for you to as a drop down, and you should be able to use that and schedule your workflow according to the process. So here you see some run logs, which is pretty clean, which is going to show you that succeeded and how many rows is generated. And also in case of any failure, it just automatically sends an email to you, giving you an alert in terms of what happened and what you need to what you need to address. So that's pretty cool. On and all, I think it's been really working great with Tableau. I would say it's very stable and with just occasional failures that I think it's part of. I think it's we experience that with every tool. But I think I look at the positive stuff and then work with it. The see if the upgraded versions have some maybe a better fix for that, all those issues that we had. That said, this is pretty much what I wanted to explain. If anybody has any questions at this point, or I will, if there's nothing, then I'll pass it over to Brittany.
Sure. So I'm just seeing if, thank you so much, Kavitha.
No problem.
Any final questions? I see, I asked a question. Do all creators at AHS have the ability to schedule their own flows once published on the server using Prep Conductor? To which Eric responded, yes. We use specific time slots since we do server backups at 10 p.m., but generally we have daily and hourly schedules. You can enable users to select any time they'd like, but we don't want jobs running while we're doing admin tasks. Okay. Any other final questions here? We just are waiting for Shah to join the meeting to as the final presenter to give the 2025.1 preview for Tableau. Maybe in the meantime, could we maybe just like in the chat, just out of curiosity, could we have everybody kind of mention where they're from and whether or not they're using Prep? And then, that might just help us get some understanding here of who's attending and how many Prep users there are. Okay.
Hey everybody, Shah here.
Hey Shah.
Hey, Shah.
Okay, I think Shah, we're ready for your presentation. So whenever
Perfect.
you're ready, we can flip it over to you.
Awesome. I'll share my screen. All right, you should be seeing my screen now. The preview for the release.
Yes, yep, we can see it. Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's take a look at the sneak peek for the newest release of this year, the first release of this year. And it's not out yet, but historically around this time period, end of February, March, I do feel that the release is going to drop imminently. So with that being said, Just our next slide is, I'm not going to read through all this legal jargon, but just to note that, don't make any purchasing decisions based on what you see in this sneak peek. I just kind of have to go over that. And again, thank you for inviting me to this. I love coming here. I love sharing anything I can to the community. This time being just a sneak peek for our release. And in this release, there's something for everybody. And I catch myself saying that for almost every release because, these big milestone releases that we do 4 times a year, they definitely do cater to whatever type of audience you are, whether you're an analyst, you're IT, you're an admin, if you're a developer, if you're an end user, business user, there's something in here for everybody. But we'll focus on some of the key ticket items here. Start with release updates to cloud and server and desktop. A lot to go through here. One being custom themes, right? So when you're formatting workbooks, typically it's time consuming and a lot of clicks. Right, we have long-standing community requests for applying styles and templates to your workbooks. So now you can use and create custom workbook themes in Tableau Desktop. You can export styling from an existing workbook as a theme, and you can apply the custom theme to any workbook via the format menu. Next, we have we talked about this last year at Tableau Conference, but it is GA, which is the VisQL Data Service API. And really, this is decoupling the VisQL engine from the visualization. So now you can use Tableau, the smarts that build Tableau behind the scenes, but you don't need to use the Tableau UI. So if you're developing data-driven workflows, custom applications, you can tap into the data with your own custom vises in your own application. Quick hit for our authors and anyone that uses Tableau Cloud or Server, you now have a recycle bin feature, just like you're used to on your desktops, etc. You need an easier way to delete your content, and you can see your own deleted content for 30 days. And site admins, you have an ability to see all deleted content for all users as well. Next, again, it might not apply to everybody, but we do now support the Dutch language. Hooray, the Netherlands. Project tree in VisPortal. So, you may find yourself in situations where you have a lot of nested projects and you want to wait for faster navigation. Well, you now have this project tree, kind of that optional navigation style project tree view that's added to your VisPortal interface. So it gives you an improved and faster navigating experience when you're looking for Tableau content. The progress dialog. So we hear a lot about, users are frustrated with slow rendering times, right? You see this loading spinner for too long in Tableau, right? It's kind of inefficient, kind of causes confusion about load times and, this unnecessary spinner spinning around. So we've enhanced that experience where there's a progress indicator. And also if it takes more than 2 seconds to load, it's replaced with this process dialog that tells you where exactly in the process we're spending that time. Logical table data source filter. You may want to reduce the number of rows in your data models for flexibility and also for improved query performance. So when you apply this filter within your data source tab, you can do this before your table participates in the relationship. So typically that was done with custom SQL before, and now you can apply this filter right within Tableau. Also another dialog improvement, which is the view data model dialog. So now when you're working with data sources, you need to understand the data model and the relationship between different tables, and you need to know which fields to use and ensure that they're created accurately. So when you're working on a viz in Tableau, you can now launch this new view data model dialog. And this dialog, it'll show you the part of the data model that's currently in use. So now you can validate and know that you're using the right field from the right table as you're interacting with your viz. Some accessibility improvements. So now, not every customer uses a mouse and keyboard to use their data model or to understand their data model. You can now use a keyboard for navigation and also the screen reader in Tableau when you're looking at your data model. And this more accessibility settings in general. Sometimes when you do get a pop-up alert, they might dismiss too quickly for some users. So now you can configure your alerts to, for a custom dismissal time, so they can hang out and be visible for a little bit longer before they automatically pop away. And again, like I mentioned, right, not every customer uses a mouse, right? So now you can do accessible actions on your keyboard for things like excluding and sorting and highlighting marks through your keyboard. And you can also use a space bar, enter, and arrow keys to interact with the vizzes as well. So table viz enhancements, right? So just, again, better accessibility, more formatting flexibility, and also data inspection. You can add this table viz extension from the Tableau Exchange to instantly get all of these improvements. So you can do things like reorganize columns, edit aliases, customize formatting, and also use extended keyboard navigation as well. Private Connect for Tableau Cloud. So when you're connecting to your AWS data sources today, it's done over the public internet. But with this new Private Connect capability, you can now use AWS Private Link to make sure you have a private connection to your AWS data sources from Tableau Cloud. So again, this is just a security enhancement and avoiding public exposure. We have a new release preview site. So you can select a release preview and you can see exactly what changes are going to occur on your site. So you can evaluate changes on content and usage and users before you actually implement the upgrade. Extract refresh permissions. So not only typically the extract owner can refresh the extract, but now you can extend that capability to other team members as well, so other people can refresh your extract in case you need it. We have that extra layer of permission now. For Tableau Pulse, our new AI capability, we now have the ability to kind of white label it, right? You can have your own custom colors and fonts and on that, just to improve that experience and not use just the default Tableau provided experience and look and feel for Tableau Pulse components. Tableau Cloud is expanding to Singapore. It'll be available to select, although I don't think anyone here would do that just because of latency. And also in that same tune, we also expanded to Indonesia as well. If you're using Tableau Cloud, you probably are used to logging in with your email. The email really is you. The email is the user. But now we've kind of decoupled the emails from a username. So now you can change your email and still have a username, etc. If you're using a resource monitoring tool from the Advanced Management add-on, you'll be happy to know that Tableau Prep queries are also now captured and logged within the resource management tool. You can see the exact query. You can see if it's slow. You can set up alerts if it's a slow query, etc. Next are improvements to our Tableau agent. So this is our smart assistant in the Tableau creation workflow. Talk to your agent in conversational English. It can help you build a viz, build a dashboard, write calculations for you, etc. And today, today it was only available on the web through web authoring, but we now extended Tableau agent for Tableau desktop as well. So if you have a Tableau cloud, if you have Tableau agent on your Tableau cloud, you can now use it on your Tableau desktop as well. And we've also extended the language support for Tableau agent. So it's not limited to it in English, right? Any language that Tableau supports, Tableau agent will now support as well. In addition, you might have seen in last year's Dreamforce demo that when you're talking to your Tableau agent, it can help you complete actions, but it can also suggest to you what next action to take, just in case you don't know where to go next. So that capability is released now, the follow-up suggestions within Tableau agent. And you can also embed that agent into your dashboards now as well. So you can always embed Tableau Pulse components But now that little search bar where you can talk to the Tableau agent, that's available to be embedded within dashboards as well, just giving your end users a better way to interact with the data. Connectivity updates, brief, but we have a brand new list of Exchange connectors. So these are connectors built by the community, by Tableau, trusted partners, etc., in our Tableau Exchange, in addition to the ones that are natively included in the product as well. So if you have a database or any other data source, you may want to look in the Exchange to see if we have a native connector for that now. Enhancements to Tableau Prep. So this one's pretty cool. So now you can use Tableau Prep and Tableau Bridge to connect the data that's on premises. So you couldn't really do that before, kind of limited in the Prep use case and kind of hindered some customers from adopting cloud. But now Prep is it's compatible with Tableau Bridge. You can use it to tap into your on-premise data sources. When we're talking about the output step of Tableau Prep, right? There's a number of ways you can output. You can write it as a published data source. You can write it to an Excel file, write it to other databases like Snowflake directly, and we just added that support for Databricks as well. You can directly write your Tableau Prep output to Databricks. Some new features in Tableau Pulse as well. And just to note that Tableau Pulse and Tableau Agent, they're not really on the same release cadence as our 4 major releases a year. These get updated much more frequently, bi-weekly. So a lot of these updates are probably already in Tableau Pulse and Tableau Agent that we're going to look at now. The mobile site switcher. So if you're using Tableau Pulse on mobile, you have the ability to very quickly switch from different sites if you are a member of many Tableau sites. The period change in a breakdown chart. So when you open up a metric, you can see the breakdown. But now, in addition to just seeing the breakdown, Tableau Pulse will also show you the change over a time period, whether month over month, year over year, whatever you have configured as well. Easier to delete metrics, so you don't have to do it just from that browsing metric and opening a metric page. Really, anywhere you see a metric, you'll be able to delete it as well. Enhanced drill down for insights on the breakdown chart. So you can now select a specific item within the breakdown, and the rest of the insights will change to focus on the context that's selected within that breakdown. The mobile homepage also got an update. You can see on the left-hand side what it used to look like, and the right-hand side what it looks like now. Just a cleaner UI, easier way to keep track of your metrics, right at your fingertips. And you can see a lot more at once versus the previous view. Also, time range grouping. So for your Tableau Pulse metrics together, so you want to see all the metrics that are changing today or for tomorrow, etc. So you can group them by time range. You can also manually now create your own goals for each Tableau Pulse metric. So if you have, a goal in mind, you can set it on the metric, and now your Tableau Pulse metric will also track your progress to that goal as well. And related metrics. So once you dive into a metric, you start to ask a lot of questions, you get some answers. Tableau Pulse will also suggest to you other related metrics that might help in your understanding and give you more context into the questions that you're looking for. And just like Tableau Agent, we've enhanced the language pool for Tableau Pulse. So really any language that's available in Tableau Desktop, etc., is now available in Tableau Pulse as well. Corner styles for Pulse metric. So if you recall using the early version of Tableau Pulse, a lot of the cards were kind of squares, but now you have control over it. You want it to be rounded corners, sharp corners, etc. Just a small customizability just to help you white label it as well. So just in conjunction with the new white labeling and formatting upgrades, you also get to upgrade the shape of the card as well. And in your metric, you can also add links to related content, just like you can do for dashboards and worksheets, etc. Today, you can add related links that users can click on and jump to a web page or maybe another dashboard, etc. You can now do that for Tableau Pulse metrics as well. So let's go back to the top here. We didn't get to go through every single item, but there are a lot of good stuff in this release. And everywhere you see a kind of a light bulb, these are ideas that we put into the product that came from our community ideas portal, right? So if you have a wish list, I wish Tableau could do this, check out the ideas page, because as you can see here, Tableau does take influence, does take community ideas, and we do deliver them in the product. So that brings me to the end of the presentation. And again, I really believe that this release will be out imminently, so keep your eyes open for that. And yeah, thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to come back.
Great. Thank you so much, Shah. I'm just taking a look to see if there's any questions. I don't see any, just a few comments. Looks like people are excited. Any questions for Shah? Okay. So I think I'll just share my screen again, just for like our final slide here. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Shah. Thank you, Eric, Jonas, Kavitha, for presenting today. Just an FYI for everybody, we have officially scheduled the next meeting, the next CanHug meeting for June 5th. So this is just tentative details to follow. But you can, and I believe if we'll put the link in the chat here in just a minute, just so you can go in and RSVP for June 5th. And just as a reminder, you can also join the CanHug Tableau user group page anytime, just for access to our forum where you can ask any questions. And I think that's it. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a great day. We'll give everyone some time back here.